You could do everything that I've said so far in this video properly, all the right training, all the right form, all the right gear, but if you're not hydrating and fueling your body properly, none of that's going to matter. So right now I'm going to show you some of the water sources I use and some of the different things that I like to fuel my body with during a ruck. Fueling and hydration both start days before your event does. Make sure you're pushing fluids. There's a saying in the military, hydrate or die. There's a lot of truth to that. You can go more time without food than you can without water, but you're going to be sweating so much during a ruck or a hike or packing out an animal that you need to stay ahead of that, okay? Right here is a couple of the things that I really like to fuel my body with. Salt tablets. I usually take 2 right before an event, and then I'll take another one every 45 minutes. There's a lot of different brands. Here's another one right here. Find what works for your body. When it comes to electrolytes, these are some ones that I really like. I'll use some of these in water, even days before my event, get that stuff circulating through my body. Don't only drink water. You'll just start filtering stuff out of your body. Make sure you're putting electrolytes in your water. If you're going to an assessment and selection for special operations, anything that says supplement facts, I'm pretty sure that's probably still the case. You're not going to be able to take. So just be crushing all that salt in your MREs. Anything that you're able to eat, salt it. Snacks during your ruck events. Always be snacking. I like these little pro bars from First Form. Goo packets, regardless of what brands or Cliff Blocks. Make sure that you test this stuff out before you do any sort of event and find out what works good for your body. This is a carb powder that I've been trying. I like it a lot. Regardless, just find out what works for you. Stay ahead of fuel, stay ahead of hydration, and make sure that you're pushing this stuff at least every 30 minutes. So now we're going to talk about water sources. For me, it's the most important thing is going to be durability, because water is vital to survival. And so if your water source pops, like a Camelback just bursts on you and all your water's gone, make sure you're having water in at least 2 different places. So have a water source of a Camelback or a bladder that you can have access to while you're moving, like I showed earlier on in the video. If you just have a Camelback or some other type of bladder that's maybe on the cheaper end, you can fill it with air and you can cover it with duct tape, and it'll help it be more rigid, but it's still not going to measure up to an MSR bladder, in my personal opinion. When it comes to bottles, I love Nalgene bottles. Nalgene makes this little flask. It's something that I could even keep on my kit, and I would usually mix different electrolyte mixes like these right here, and it'd give me something more concentrated that I could take in addition to my Camelback. And then these bigger Nalgene bottles, they also pair really awesome as a kind of like a foam roller. So if you're on an op and you get like a really tight IT band and you don't have a foam roll, but you need to loosen up your leg, roll out with your water bottle, your Nalgene. Different sizes, they can go different places in your pack depending on what you want to do. Also, you can't go wrong with just regular pocket water. Not durable, not tactical, but very practical. In Afghan, this ended up being what most of us ended up doing because it was easy. We had a bunch of waters, what cases of water come in, and we just throw a couple in our cargo pockets, and this is what most guys ended up hydrating with anyways. And then I like to have a way to where I can clean out all the stuff out of my water sources. I'll be pushing so much fluids and so much different electrolytes into these things, and over time they're going to get stinking. They're going to get some mold buildup in there. Have a healthy way to where you can clean out. Throw a couple of these in there with some warm water, rinse them out real good, and they're going to freshen up right away. in the military before, I was taught to throw a couple drops of bleach in with a canteen, MSR bladder, whatever to do, some of the clean out that some of these tabs would do. Now that kind of terrifies me that I used to do that or even purify water with bleach. If you're in a survival situation, that's one thing, but try to not be drinking bleach. Let's talk ruck run strategies. So different ways that I like to do it are I will stride the uphill, I will shuffle all the flat land, and then I will boogie down the downhills. Of course, being careful for your legs, and you don't want to twist an ankle. So just use your best judgment, and it's also going to depend on how tired you are and where you are in your race. Also, you can utilize interval training. And so you do this a few different ways. You can say walk with purpose for 1 minute. You're not just strolling, but stride it out, and you can walk for say a minute, and then you can shuffle for 5 minutes. Whatever that ratio is that you like for your body, go ahead and play around with that and see what works for you. Let's talk footwear and socks. Make sure your boots are well broken in before your event or selection. These are LOAs. Whatever boots you wear is going to be dependent on if you're in the military and what you're authorized to use, or just what you're preferring. When it comes to rucks, I prefer a non-Gore-Tex boot. That's going to allow my feet to dry out a lot quicker than Gore-Tex boots are. When they get waterlogged, they'll often stay wet for days. When it comes to socks, do not use cotton. Cotton kills. Invest in a good quality sock. These are darn tough socks. I just did a 50-mile ruck run race 1 week ago, and I used these exact boots and these exact socks. I cleaned up with some wet wipes halfway through and threw another pair of these on, and I didn't have a single blister over 50 miles in arduous terrain. If you are going to use Gore-Tex boots and you're in wet terrain, look into something called sealskins or deck shells. They're waterproof socks, and they'll help keep your feet more dry, and you can wear a liner sock inside of those. Footwear, they are the tires of your body. It's what has contact with the ground. Invest in good tires, good boots, good socks. Take care of your feet. All right, let's talk about chafing and blisters. Okay, so this isn't something that I really do much of because I don't really chafe and I don't really get blisters a lot. But I've seen some really nasty stuff. I've seen the entire sole of different guys' feet literally peeled back like a sticker getting peeled off of the paper. It can be pretty bad, and it can totally take you out of your entire selection, hunt, backpacking adventure, whatever. So some different things that you can look into are things like Body Glide, moleskin, baby powder. Also going back to good quality socks and footwear. Just make sure that you're taking care of your body and you're doing your research to make sure that you're not taking yourself out of the fight before it even starts. Although the best way to get better at rucking is by rucking, you can become a better rucker without rucking, and you can save your body. But you're still going to need to get comfortable with moving long periods of time under load. If your goal is to get selected at a special operations assessment and selection, you're going to have to show up crushing the standard. The bare minimum is not going to be enough to make you competitive. There's a lot of different programs out there. There's one through the MARSOC app, I believe. There's Softfleet. That's a program that I've done for years. They have a ruck training program on there. Military athlete, so many different things, but just make sure that your program suits where you currently are and do not overtrain your rucks. Durability from accessory movements is going to be your moneymaker. These different movements are going to be anything that's focusing on the combat chassis, which is core and legs. So think of, front squat, RDLs, lunges, GHDs, back extensions, even pull-ups and overhead press to work on your shoulders, planks, different things like that. Anything work in that combat chassis. Make sure that you track your progress so that way you're seeing the progress that you're making, and it's going to encourage you to keep training. Make sure that you stretch and roll after your workouts and you have a good post-workout routine. Get some good fuel in your body. Make sure that you're getting proper sleep and you're recovering as best as you can. Remember, everything that I've talked about is going to be up to your personal preference. These are just some things that I like, but might not work for you. So make sure you put in the time yourself to find out what works for you and your body. Now, time to train.